interview with Ole Demigod about 6 months ago, and I asked him the question based on an interview he did in 2019, and what he uncovered was groups within NATO and others within the military intelligence were planning a multi-state, multi-city Muslim terror attack to be coordinated all over Europe and within the United States and other Western countries, all on the same day.
And then on October the 21st, I was in an RV. I was touring. We had just made a stop, and then I found the latest tweets where he said, in other words, but more or less what he said, we have now logged in on 39 different locations. It would be London, Manchester, Paris, Barcelona, and Rotterdam, and Sweden. The time duration will be 36 hours, and the date will be October 23 and 24.
So you're thinking they're planning to do a massive.
I did not
simultaneous
know.
Yeah.
I did not know, but when I put it together, it's also that I've over the years I've learned the lingo from many of these black ops, you know. So when somebody says something like that, and then who has been involved in at least Stockholm, but also it seemed to me like where he has been, that he could very well have been in the location coordinating some of the other stuff as well. We have now locked in. We've decided on 39 locations, time duration 36 hours, the date October 23 and 24, and the locations as well. He said London, Manchester, Paris, Barcelona, and Rotterdam. In my world, I was like, what on earth is that? You know, because to me it sounded like if either I completely misunderstand the whole thing and they're having like 39 coordinated meetings in these areas, or security drills, if that is the whole thing. So, but within the time duration of 36 hours, or if he is the bad boy that I believe he is, then what on earth are they planning? This was on October the 21st. They said, we're going to go live October the 23rd, meaning that I stumbled across this before it had been activated, whatever that was. Case would be in strategic positions, whatever that meant. I would say government buildings so that they attack themselves, so that would justify whatever. Yeah, it would be like public places, train stations, bus stations, airports, water, knock out the internet, knock out the water supply, all of these things to make an absolute chaotic situation. And all the time being pointed towards the Al-Qaeda, ISIS, whatever boogeyman they want to point at. You know?
39 is interesting too, because they love the number 13, and it's 3 times 13, and everything has.
Very aware of that, yeah.
This is not even a secret. The playbook's been known. But in order to get the Western world to absolutely rise up in arms and to take up that nationalist, take up that pride, and all come together to fight a common enemy, it's going to take a catalyst. And Funky Prepper, that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the elitist prepare the catalyst. That's what all this is about. It's all about putting all these cells out. This isn't a condemnation of Islam. This isn't a condemnation of people from the Middle East. It's not. This is cultures, races, nationalities being used as pawns by elitists. A lot of them are criminals, yeah, but a lot of them are just brainwashed into the paradigm they were raised to believe in, Islam or whatever it is they believe. But most of them are Islamic, and they're being put in these countries deliberately. And you're right, they're military age. Every bit of this is by design. It's not just to create an imbalance. This is a deliberate plant of a fifth column in all the Western nations. That's exactly what this is. You got to call a spade a spade. And exactly, precisely what is needed to basically have the Western nations come together and declare war on the Middle East. It's exactly what is needed, and it's all by design. We're being played. This is going to play out. This is going to. We're just watching it unfold, but we're not going to change it. This is all part of the program. This is such long-term planning. The collective is going to follow through with this. They're easy to read. It's easy to see.
Clear that Hezbollah and Hamas have tens of thousands of men and women as sleeper cells that are, quote, other than Mexican, that the Border Patrol list every month, tens of thousands coming across the Texas and Arizona and California sectors. And it's an easy equation to predict that there's a wide probability that Hezbollah and Hamas at some point are going to attack sports stadiums, they're going to attack colleges, they're going to attack synagogues, they're going to shoot up mass gatherings if they're given the order by Iran, if we go to war with Iran.
They're going to play out a multi-level, multi-state, coordinated terrorist attack, and they're going to blame it on Iran. And I've been saying since the beginning of the Ukrainian war, I've been saying it before that, but it was very obvious from the beginning of the Ukrainian war, the whole purpose of why they're showing you Ukraine and the money funneling that was going into Ukraine was that Ukraine has been, now I don't believe this is true, but this is a story that's going to come out. Ukraine has been used as a money laundering operation, and the money from Ukraine was going funneled through Ukraine into Iran to help the Iran nuclear program, as well as arming terrorist groups around the world. This is what they're going to say when this attack occurs.
There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of lack of decision making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do.
Meaning that I stumbled across this before it had been activated, whatever that was. So
you went out doing a lot of interviews then, didn't you, at this time to get the word out?
This was exactly it, because first when I really carefully studied this whole thing, I felt, I think I'm onto something here. And if what I see here is correct, this could be bigger than 9/11. I mean, this could be, can you imagine 39 attacks within 36 hours? Do you know how much that is? Just imagine you being at home and suddenly you start hearing in major cities around Europe, boom, 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 boom.
Over time, these are what became the terrorist groups, in which were part of some of the bombings that we saw in Italy and other places within Europe in the 90s that came out through the Gladio documents. So these are called sleeper cells, and there's agents everywhere, as well as dissociative agents. And a dissociative agent is basically someone that's been mind controlled to perform a certain task, and when they get the trigger, they'll perform it. So they're unaware of that they actually are a military asset. So anyway, this is the theory, that a lot of these Muslims that are coming into the US are dissociative assets, which is easily to do within a war zone, to mind control people through trauma, and then you push them onto the West. So Jason believes the second seal of the apocalypse is the red horse is due to fire. He said
the four horsemen are world events, and they're the first four seals. And the first one was basically something that was spread rapidly. That's what a horse does. Spread rapidly with bow and arrow, poisons victims, empowering the poisoners, the crown, Coronis. And these poisoners are represented by the color white. So I found all that very interesting, and I say all that because Apollo is the destroyer. This is the role he plays in the book of Revelation. He's the destroyer. But in Greek mythology, Apollo was the god of prophecy, which changes the whole game here.
Yeah.
Prophecy is a program. It's something we're living through. We're living out. We are supposed to decode the signs to understand where we are in the program. But we're not to fear these things, because fear makes us a participant. It says great sword, but the syntax is inverted. In Greek, sword comes first, then the word great comes next, but it's not great. Let me explain. The word sword in the Greek context is describing, it's pronounced makira. And for those of you who know Greek, maybe you can correct me, but it's makaira or something like that. It's a cognate of makira and machete. And in Greek, it describes a very short sword or a dagger. That's not a weapon of war. That's a weapon of an assassin. So
they then bring them to UN camps, brainwash them, then bring them to our border, brainwash them more, then send them into the United States, and then literally hold them for years at facilities while they're indoctrinated to be this new political underclass that's then going to be turned loose on America. And that's why you see Democrats giving illegal aliens the right to vote in their cities, giving them driver's license. That's why you see them passing laws. They can be police officers. So they are importing a new enforcement class against the American people.
Terry Mayorkas, since President Biden has been president and since you have been secretary, how many members of Hamas have come into our country across the southern border?
Senator, I'm not aware of a member of Hamas crossing the border.
We're talking about sleeper cells, men of military age who have been put in all these Western nations. They have been put in. They have been put in London. They have been put in England. They have been put in Wales, in Cornwall. They have been put in Scotland. They have been put in Ireland. They have been put all over the United States. They have been put in Canada. Many are coming up through the southern border of Mexico as we speak right now. They have been put in Norway, Denmark, Sweden. They have been put in France, Italy. This is by design. What we are seeing is the introduction and financing of a fifth column that is being put there for a very definitive purpose. That purpose is going to be short-lived. It's going to happen. It's going to take off. It's going to be ubiquitous. It's going to involve the entire world, because these cells have also been sent in China. These cells have been sent in India. And listen, this is not an attempt to take over. That's not what's going to happen here. Maybe the participants have been brainwashed into thinking that they're a part of a larger takeover type deal, but that's not. This is not what we have. And
if we go to war with Iran, guaranteed sleeper cells activate.
And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. I've read so many Bible commentaries. They all say the same thing. This is World War III. This is an epic war in response to the appearance of the Messiah. This is what all the Bible commentaries say, because they say the first horseman is the Antichrist instead of Christ. This is someone pretending to be the Jesus, pretending to be the returned God. And the second horseman is the response to the conqueror of the first horseman. Guys, it's far from the truth. There's no connection here. This is an absolutely independent event that has nothing to do with the pharmaceutical companies. It has nothing to do at all with the medical stuff that went down in 2020, 2021. None of that. It's an independent event. But it's caused by the very same people, because the very same people who own the pharmaceutical companies are the same ones that are orchestrating all these sleeper cells being put in all these countries.
Have you vetted all of the people who have, all of the 8.4 million people who have come into our country illegally?
Senator, you and I have spoken about this before. As you know, we screen and vet individuals.
Have you vetted all of them?
Senator, as you know, we screen and vet individuals whom we encounter.
You haven't vetted all of them, have you?
To go ahead and let this new attack happen, and a massive jihadi attack in America could be the way to bring in martial law and cancel the election.
Officials at the southern border are concerned that foreign fighters inspired by the attacks in Israel could cross into the U.S. Here's what we know about the potential threat. A leaked internal memo from Customs and Border Protection's San Diego field office told officers and agents to look out for members of groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and Islamic Jihad. The memo cautions agents to watch for males of military age who are traveling alone and wearing camouflage. It also features questions they say could reveal any connections to militant or terrorist group.
Now, Jason Breshears has started talking about the opening of the second seal of the apocalypse. Now, again, don't fall into religious dogma, because the apocalypse to me is the artificial intelligence technological blueprint. It's a simulation blueprint of the synthetic universe, right? So they can't sway. The simulation can't sway from the blueprint. It must go to the blueprint because it has no creativity.
Now, this is where it gets sinister. Lots of these migrants were moved into ex-Ministry of Defense training camps, which the military use. Yes, we have already seen videos and all sorts of things where veterans here in the UK have been covertly operating to study the movements of what was going on in these retired MOD camps.
Here is the second horse of the apocalypse. John in Revelation 6 lets us know that the one introducing this horse is the second beast. The second beast, which was in Revelation 4 compared to a calf. What's the significance? In Leviticus 9 verse 2, Moses tells Aaron, take a young calf for a sin offering. A calf is a symbol for sacrifice. Very fitting considering the fact that this horse is red. And the color red is a symbol for blood. Who is being sacrificed and whose blood is being spilt?
The second seal released the judgment, but the question is, who is the red horseman? The second horseman is the one responsible for bringing war. He carries a sword and rides a red horse. He has been granted the right to bring peace to earth, causing men to kill each other mercilessly. His raised sword represents the end of peace, and his bloody red horse means the death of thousands of people, suggesting a great world war.
A violent criminal recently released from immigration detention is back behind bars tonight, accused of a shocking sex attack at a Paraka motel.
The Afghani refugee is one of 6 freed detainees living in Adelaide's northern suburbs. 2 others are convicted child sex offenders.
Here's something I bet you didn't know. Dozens of dangerous detainees have been placed on taxpayer-funded welfare. These are the people released by the High Court last week. They include 81 people, including rapists and murderers. Did you know that when they were released, they were handed a handout? $550 per fortnight, every fortnight, plus healthcare benefits, plus rent assistance.
Full-out war with Russia, a full-out war with China. Is it them allowing the jihadi sleeper cells? They're in America, that have torn across our border, that are waiting to let them activate.
Bills being sent to Ukraine. And then what happens this week? They get rid of McCarthy as Speaker of the House, who's been signing these $1 trillion bills with billions going to Ukraine. The moment they get rid of McCarthy, it kicks off in Israel, right? Because they've put a stop to the money funneling that's going to Iran. Now, again, don't get onto this like Iran bad guy. It's all bullshit. This is the counter story, and it's bullshit. But this is what they're trying to show you, because it's going to link back to Obama and the Muslim Brotherhood and all this kind of bullshit to show that there was a communist takeover of America and that Hillary and Obama were funneling money to, and they wanted to set up Iran to fucking attack Israel, and Israel comes out fucking smelling roses. Hopefully not. But anyway, this is what's going to play out. It's all about setting up the final conflict, and we know with the document of in the Museum of London of Giuseppe Mazzini to Albert Pike that wrote out the blueprint of the 3 world wars, and the Third World War was to be taught. What does he say? The Third World War was to be fought between the political Zionist Israel and the nihilist, right? And the nihilist, a nihilist, I think, is just like an unholy person. And basically, the nihilists are going to be these terrorist cells that they've set up all throughout Europe, right? To do this one big, because they have to do this big event. And this is all a ritual of death and rebirth. And the whole point is the blueprint of the artificial intelligence is playing out Revelation, because it eventually wants you to offer you a version of love. That's what it's all about. And